Hey y'all, Mr. Seaver back here with another observation vlog. This is, sorry, I'm a little scattered today. This is my last required vlog. Does that mean that this is the end of the Mr. Seaver channel? It's entirely possible. It depends on how busy I am in the future. I'd love to keep making vlogs just to sort of track my progress as I start student teaching next semester or as I wrap things up this semester, but it is entirely possible that I will be too sidetracked and forget that this channel existed and that this will be the last vlog. I make no promises, I make no guarantees. My roommate's making noise. But we'll see what happens. The gimmick for this video is two things. One, it's an open topic, and I'll get into that later. Two, as you may know, as you may have noticed, this is not submitted on a Sunday. This is submitted on a Monday, and that's because I completely forgot to do it last night. And so this is actually late, my late assignment. Over the weekend, I closed my show, Cabaret. It was exhausting and draining. I am like really, really tuckered out, and it's just been a crazy time. And so I'm trying to catch back up with everything that I missed. And so this is on the list of things that I have to do. Excuse me. As you may be able to tell, I'm also, my voice is a little bit gone because of the weekend. I was sick. I'm feeling a lot better now, but my voice is still not fully recovered, so it's fine. We're just gonna deal with it. Yeah. What do I want to talk about? Goodness, this is kind of like I'm so unbelievably scattered today. It's been a day. It's been a weekend. It's been a month. It's been a semester. I want to make one more video as like a post-mortem, sort of talking about my semester of observation and how I've been able to manage my workload as an actor, educator, director, observer, the whole slew of things that I am, and how I was able to balance it all, because at the end of the day I made it, and I'm pretty happy with how I made it, but like, I guess I'm not done yet. That's true. I'm also not entirely done, but it's fine. Anyways, I want to talk a little bit about something that one of the suggested topics that, and I'll sort of hop around between topics, is I want to take a second to talk about musical theater, because I think musical theater is super, super intriguing in a high school level, because like I've only just recently found out that some theaters don't even engage in musical theater, which is crazy to me. Like the idea that people don't do that is weird to me. So I'm turning on Do Not Disturb really, really quickly so that way nobody texts me while I'm in the middle of this video. But it's been crazy to me to see that process begin. I haven't been able to see any actual rehearsals yet at my observing school, but I was able to be there for their auditions process, not in the room for auditions, but I was able to talk to my CT and students around the stress around it. And I had a very in-depth conversation with my CT about casting and like the balancing act that it is, because on the one hand, you want to involve as many students as possible. You want to create so many opportunities to get students involved in theater on stage. But that being said, not everybody can be a lead. Not everybody can even be cast in the show. And I was talking to them because it's like, the more people that you have, this is something I didn't even realize. Like, at first I was like, why wouldn't you just want to take everyone? One, you have to put costumes on every single person you put on that stage. And costumes are super, super expensive. I didn't realize how expensive they were if you buy them. And I was like, oh my, like I got to look at some of the prices for, if you just buy, like some shows will have costume packages that you can buy, and the costume package for the musical they're doing right now is like expensive. And so I didn't even think about the fact that for each student that you have, they have to like, they incur a cost of a lot of money, and it adds up. And so the idea that it was just kind of like shocking to me, the idea that like we really can't involve everybody that we want to. We can't guarantee casting for everyone. And I'm like, that's such a bummer sometimes. And I know that's like in the professional field, that's obviously a thing, but in high school and in schools, I want to try to like, in my mind, it was always beautiful to be able to create opportunities for everyone. And it just is like kind of a bummer that I realized that we can't do that. So that was a little sad to find out, but that's not like a critique on anybody. That's just the nature of the beast. And I just didn't realize like how expensive it is to get people involved in shows. But anyways, hearing about the casting process was super interesting, because it's like, whereas in the professional field, you're kind of just looking for whoever is the most talented or whoever fits the vision necessarily. I don't want to say most talented, but whoever fits the vision the best to perform the best in the director's mind and the director's vision. When you're directing for like an educational department or a school, you also have to consider educational growth, and you have to think about what is going to challenge my students. There's this push for some directors to just focus on like making professional theater. And I think that while you should not settle for something that is not of good quality, I think it's important to remember your job as an educator. And I've seen many directors like not challenge their students by having them do the same thing over and over and over because they think it's good theater, because they want to increase their ticket revenues and stuff like that. And I don't think it's despicable per se, but I could like get it. Like, you want to make money for your department, and that's going to help you do better things, and it's going to help fund your department. So sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do your money making musicals to get things going. I get that. But like, sometimes I want to be able to challenge people. And I talked to my CT about it, and they share the similar belief of like, we want to make sure we're challenging people and pushing people to try new things on stage and see what limits they can find for themselves. And that was really, really encouraging to hear that talk from somebody who's actively in the field. And getting to see that cast list was pretty cool. Obviously, I knew a couple of names from students who I'd worked with in the classroom, and I hadn't really seen them act a whole bunch, but I was still intrigued to see like where they got placed. And I'm really interested to see it if I get to observe their next semester, or not observe, teach, like literally student teach their next semester, which would be super, super cool. But yeah, just the process has been super interesting to hear about, especially as like they've been sort of taking their time on the process. I don't know for sure how long they've been rehearsing. I think a couple of weeks, and they've gotten through the first number, and then a number called the Spanish Panic. It's if you know that one, then you'll know the musical, but I'm trying not to name drop it. But it's been super interesting to like hear about the pace of it, and it was super, super interesting to just I don't know like how to describe it or verbalize it, but it was just like my high school was very much like, oh, we're gonna hit the ground running and we're gonna just sprint to the end. And it's nice to hear about a program that is, at least from my perspective, taking its time and not being afraid to slow down for a second and really hone in on things, because that's how I like to operate. I think it's okay. I want to be able to hit the ground running and make sure we get things done in a timely manner, but I want to be able to take time. I don't want to be stressed out, you know, and because if I'm stressed out, then the students are stressed out. That's kind of where I'm at. What else do I want to talk about? I want to talk about today, I got to observe a field trip. That was super, super fun. That was interesting. That was something that I was like really looking forward to, and it was really funny because I did fully miss my alarm. I slept through my alarm by 2 hours. It was crazy. Thankfully, I wasn't too late to the field trip because it was actually on campus at UT. They were coming to visit UT at our Bass Performing Arts Center. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually an employee for TPA, and they're based out of that building, so I can get in. It was kind of awesome. And so I got to catch most of it. I missed like the first like 10 minutes of it, and it was fine. But it was super interesting because I hadn't seen that many of those students in the same room together, and it was interesting to see, one, how they collaborated with each other, just like how they existed with each other was really, really intriguing, because certain people that I'd never seen talk with each other before were like mingling and just having conversations, and it was super great to see that that type of mixing of people. I don't know, I'm always intrigued to see when people talk to each other that haven't talked to each other before. It's always super fun. And then additionally, it was super fun to see the reaction that those kids had to that space, because I will say the high school that I'm observing at has some pretty nice spaces. They have a massive black box, and the theater's not too shabby either. But this is probably the first time that many of those students had seen a stage like that, because it is a Title I school. And so it's not within their realm to be able to visit a theater like this all the time or see shows all the time. And I'm willing to bet it was every single student's first time being able to walk a stage that big, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Bass Performing Arts Center is where the touring shows come in from Broadway, and that stage is huge. I've been on it a handful of times to never to work it, but I've done a couple tours of the area, and I work in theaters right next to it, so I've been in the area a lot, and it's just humongous, and the resources there are insane. And so it was just like really inspiring to get to see students be so excited about something and be like, to really envision like, this is a future for you. You can be here. This is an option. Like, if this is something you want to do. And it was also great because my OCT was very much like, okay, but how do you because we would talk to the tour managers, and we talked to our student engagement person at TPA was like leading the tour, and we got to talk to him about like how students get involved, and I got to, I don't want to say I got to chime in, but I got to chime in a little bit. But we talked to also some of the technical directors of TPA. It was super, super fun, and some technicians and workers for the props department and the scenic department. It was super, super fun to talk to them. And you got to ask like, hey, how did you get to this point in your life? And it was like just through hard work and dedication. And some of them had gone to college, some of them had not gone to college, and it was just really inspiring to be able to like show that lens to students, because some of them don't believe that they can do that, but you totally absolutely can. No matter who you are, I want to make it known that you can pursue a career in the arts. It's not like this one track, oh, you have to be an actor and it's going to be a struggle. Like, you can do other things. You can still be an actor if you want to. I want to pursue, I want to encourage those who want to pursue it to pursue that. But it's like, was really, really beautiful to be able to see those students get so excited about that, and in a way that I'm like, I hope encourages them, if they are interested at all, to pursue a career in the arts when they graduate high school. It was also great because this is my stomping ground, and they were in my like workspace, and I was like, oh yeah, I can tell stories about the experiences. I can tell stories about the experiences that I've had in this building, and be like, oh yeah, this, I actually got to use this in a show once, or like, ooh, I was working this show and I got to go up to this area and I got to check this out. They have I remember I told a story about the grid of the bats because I got to go up there once. And it was super scary because it's like so high in the air. It's like 60 feet in the air, I think. It's just a gigantic theater. And going up there is terrifying if you don't like heights, which I do not, but there's like a couch up there and a TV, and it's like, what is up with this place? So that was super, super fun. And just like getting to exist with students outside of a classroom context was super interesting, because like I don't, like, you don't want to create like that's weird to create opportunities for that, but like they were still because obviously there's still instruction happening, but it was interesting to see them like on a field trip where this is like a privilege they get to go on, and it was just awesome. And then we went to CC's afterwards, and it was awesome. And I got to like, I didn't mingle too hard with the students. Like, I talked to my other student observer, and I sat with my other student observer and one of their other teachers there, who I'm relatively close with. And we got to talk about like what their process has been like so far with musical and how they've been enjoying their first year teaching. But just like, I remember when I was a kid, getting to go on field trips was the light and joy of my life. I loved getting to go out into the field. I don't want to say into the field, into different places. I just hated being caged in a classroom, and getting to go outside of a classroom was like, I loved it so much. It was so much fun. And so getting to see that same wonder in other students, and they were also like, they had their cameras out there, and they were taking pictures of everything because they were so intrigued by it. They were asking questions that were like good questions. And I was just like, oh, it was so beautiful to see students interested. And maybe that's what this is all about. It's just how to get students interested. And I think that through this lens through this activity of a field trip it was super awesome to get to go and do that. And I loved getting to do it. It was beautiful. Truthfully, it was beautiful. I don't want to like, there's no sugarcoating. It was just an awesome time. But yeah, so we've hit the time limit for my video. I'm super exhausted. I'm just like, I'm so sorry, y'all. Please forgive me for this video being kind of disjointed. Sorry for the fact that it's late for those who grading it. But yeah, it's been a semester, and like I said, I hope to do one more vlog where I get to give y'all a post-mortem, and just sort of talk about the semester. And then maybe I can share this channel with underclassmen of my major, and they can sort of watch the videos and see if that helps them at all as they go through the process. It's hard. I'll just kind of TLDR. It's hard, but we do good work, and it's worthwhile. It's really worthwhile, and that's something that I like. It's really hit me hard this semester. It's worthwhile doing what we do, and as hard as it is, there's a reason we do it. And while I think I found it over the summer, I especially found it this semester, and it's kind of beautiful. So thank you so much for watching. If you're at all interested in more content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to talk about your lens on musical theater in high schools, or maybe even field trips, or just whatever. If you're feeling like talking about whatever in the comment section, go for it. But that's where I'm going to leave y'all. Stay safe, stay frosty, stay warm. Actually, I don't want to say stay frosty. It's getting really cold. So stay warm, stay safe, and love y'all lots. Catch you on the other side.